My name is Michael, and what I'm about to tell you may seem impossible to believe. 6 months ago, I made the most radical decision of my life. I faked my own death to find out who really cared about me. What I discovered destroyed me inside in ways I never imagined. It all started on a December night when I overheard a conversation I shouldn't have. I was coming home early from work, had canceled a last-minute meeting, when I stopped at the front door hearing voices in the living room. My wife Sarah was talking on the phone with my sister Jennifer. "I can't stand pretending I care about him anymore," Sarah said with a coldness that chilled my blood. "If something happened to Michael, it would almost be a relief, you know?" Jennifer left on the other end of the line. "At least you'd inherit everything. The house, the money from the company. You'd finally be free." I stood frozen. 20 years of marriage, a thriving business I built from scratch, children I raised with so much love, and all I heard was this? But the conversation got worse. "And the boys wouldn't even miss him that much," Sarah continued. "David is always glued to his video games, barely talks to me, and Jake, well, he's 16, he'll be off to college soon anyway." In that moment, something died inside me. Not literally. That would come later. For weeks, the conversation echoed in my head. I started observing my family with different eyes. Was Sarah right? Did no one really care? That's when I met Robert, a private investigator I had hired for some company matters. During a casual conversation, he mentioned cases where people faked their own deaths to escape debts or start new lives. "It's easier than people think," he said, not knowing he was planting a seed in my mind. The idea was absurd, but it was also irresistible. I spent 2 months planning meticulously. Robert, initially reluctant, eventually agreed to help me in exchange for a considerable sum. We created a fake identity for me, Marcus Smith, arranged documents, a secret bank account, and even a small apartment in another city. The plan was simple. Fake a car accident on an isolated road with the car catching fire. Robert would handle the official details through his contacts in the police. I would disappear for 6 months, watching from afar how my family would react. On a March morning, I kissed Sarah and my children for the last time. David, 12, barely looked up from his phone. Jake mumbled a "bye, Dad," while grabbing his backpack for school. Sarah was busy organizing the kitchen. No one noticed I was memorizing every detail of that moment. The accident happened on a rainy Tuesday. Robert had chosen a dangerous curve on the road to the coast, away from security cameras. An old car exploded and caught fire, supposedly with me inside. The documents burned, but Robert made sure some evidence survived to confirm my identity. While the flames consumed my past, I was hidden a few miles away, heart racing with a mixture of terror and expectation. Michael had died. Marcus was being born. For the first 3 days, I didn't leave the apartment. Robert kept me informed through encrypted calls. The news had spread. Police were investigating the accident. My family had been notified. "Your wife broke down when she found out. She's inconsolable. Your children are also very shaken." I felt a strange relief. Maybe I had misinterpreted that conversation. Maybe Sarah really loved me, and the conversation with Jennifer was just a momentary vent. But Robert seemed hesitant. "Michael, there's something else. Can I start sending you videos and audio of what's happening at your house?" I agreed, not imagining what was coming. The first video arrived on Friday. It was from my own house's security camera. Robert had hacked the system I had installed myself. Sarah was in the living room, embraced with my sister, Jennifer. But it wasn't a comforting embrace. It was intimate, romantic. They kissed. 20 years of marriage, and my wife was kissing my sister the day after my funeral. The videos that followed were a nightmare in slow motion. Sarah and Jennifer had started a relationship over a year ago. They were planning to be together once everything calmed down. My death had been convenient. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. David, my 12-year-old son, wasn't mourning. He was relieved. In a recorded conversation with a friend, he said, "Now maybe Mom will stop fighting so much. Dad always made her nervous." Jake, 16, was even more brutal. Robert managed to record a conversation with his girlfriend. "Man, it's kind of bad to say this, but my dad being dead solves a lot of problems. Mom will have money, I'll be able to go to college out of state, and I won't have to pretend I like him anymore." With each recording, a part of me truly died. Robert discreetly filmed my own funeral. It was the most surreal and painful experience of my life. Sarah wore black, but her tears seemed to be of relief, not sadness. She discreetly held Jennifer's hand throughout the entire ceremony. My children were on their phones. My parents, already elderly, cried genuinely. At least they seemed to care. Some work colleagues were there, but I noticed many were already eyeing the company I had left behind. The pastor spoke about a man who will be remembered with fondness. I couldn't count 5 people in that church who actually seemed to miss me. May and June were months of increasingly painful revelations. Sarah had hired a lawyer to speed up the inheritance process. She was selling my company, which took me 15 years to build, for a value well below market, just to have quick money. My children started living as if I had never existed. David asked to remove my portrait from his room. Jake started calling Jennifer Aunt Jen to friends, but just Jen at home, as if she were her second mother. They changed the house decoration. My company trophies, my photos, my books, everything went to the basement or was donated. It was as if they were erasing my existence.
In July, Robert came with information that finally broke me completely. "Michael, you need to know something," he said, visibly uncomfortable. "I hacked Sarah's computer, found old emails." What he showed me was devastating. Sarah and Jennifer had been together for 3 years, not 1. They had planned several times how it would be better if I weren't around anymore. In an email from 6 months before my accident, Sarah wrote, "If he died in an accident, it would be perfect. I'd inherit everything, the kids would get used to it, and we could finally be together without having to hide." Jennifer replied, "Sometimes I think we should help fate along." They had considered actually killing me. My fake death had saved me from a real death. I couldn't take it anymore. 6 months of agony, watching my family secretly celebrate my absence, were enough. On a Thursday in August, Robert drove me to my old house. It was dawn. I used a key I had hidden in the garden. No one had thought to change the locks. I quietly went up to the master bedroom. Sarah and Jennifer were sleeping embraced in my bed. I turned on the light. The scream Sarah let out must have woken the entire neighborhood. Jennifer literally fainted. For a few precious seconds, they thought they were seeing a ghost. "Hello, darling," I said, with a calm I didn't know I possessed. "I missed you, too." What followed was total chaos. Sarah called the police, but Robert had already taken care of the official details of my resurrection. Officially, I had been found with amnesia in another state and was gradually recovering my memory. My children reacted differently. David was genuinely happy. Maybe he really had missed me, or maybe it was just the novelty. Jake was visibly annoyed, as if I had ruined his plans. Sarah tried to fake relief and joy, but it was obvious she was terrified. Jennifer avoided looking me in the eyes. Today, 6 months after my return, my life is completely different. I divorced Sarah. She tried to claim I had abandoned the family, but Robert had all the evidence of her betrayal. I managed to keep most of my assets. My children, well, I have a strange relationship with them now. David seems to have realized he may have misjudged me. We spend more time together, and I discovered he really does care. He just didn't know how to show it. Jake still keeps his distance, but at least he doesn't pretend to like me anymore. Jennifer left town. We don't speak anymore. Sarah lives in a small apartment and works part-time. Sometimes we run into each other at the boys' school meetings. She always seems uncomfortable, as if she's expecting me to reveal the truth about what I discovered. Faking my own death taught me brutal lessons about love, family, and truth. I discovered that some people in my life really cared. My parents, some true friends, and David, in his confused teenage way. But I also discovered that other people, including my wife of 20 years, saw me only as an obstacle to their happiness. The question that haunts me is, was it worth knowing the truth? Part of me would have preferred to continue living in ignorance. It would have been less painful to believe Sarah loved me, that my children would miss me, that my life had meaning to the most important people in my life. But another part of me, the part that's building a new life based on genuine relationships, knows that the truth, however painful, set me free. Today, I know who really cares about me. I have a new girlfriend, Emma, who knew nothing about my previous life. I told her the complete story a few weeks ago, and she was shocked, but didn't judge me. David comes to spend weekends with me, and we discovered we have more in common than we imagined. Jake is still distant, but maybe with time. Sometimes I wonder if other people should do what I did, fake their own death to discover the truth about their families. The answer is complicated. What I can say is this: discovering that the people you love don't care about you is one of the deepest pains that exists. But discovering who really cares, even if it's few people, can be worth all the agony. My fake death gave me a second chance at true life. And this time, I'm living it only with people who really want me to be alive. This story changed my perspective on family, love, and truth forever. If you made it this far, maybe you should reflect. Do you really know the people around you? And more importantly, do they really know you? Sometimes the truth hurts, but living a lie hurts more.